What is going on, comic fam? Welcome back to another episode of the Monday Night Jibber Jabber. It's me, Vincent McLean, the Comic Machine. And we're here today with a very special guest. You may or may not know him. If you don't know him, then I don't know what you're doing with your life. This is definitely the guru of Star Wars comics. Like, there's nobody else in the comic book community that knows as much Star Wars as this man does. And I'm very happy that he's going to be here tonight. We're going to have a good time. We're going to nerd out real hard because I need more Star Wars information. Plus, even though it's a Monday Night Jibber Jabber and May the 4th didn't fall on Monday, today is going to be that, honorable May the 4th episode for the Monday Night Jibber Jabber. So, without further ado, here we go. Justin from the Comic-Con podcast.
These things are supposed to light up.
Oh, goodness.
They're not lighting up. What's going on, everybody? Hey, what's up, Vincent? Happy to be here tonight on Monday Night Jibber Jabber. What's going on, comic fam?
Yes, thank you for coming on. I very much appreciate it. Normally, it's just like I have like the bros be hopping on here all the time. Scav, Comic Man, Andy, Justin, Dustin, just the bros. So I felt like, let me get somebody super new. Haven't seen you on the webs for a hot minute. So I was like, hey, I got Star Wars questions. Let me hit this dude up. We started talking. So I'm very happy that you were able to come on the show. This is going to be really a lot of fun. So what have you been up to?
Well, anybody who doesn't know me, I am on the Comic-Con podcast. It's a podcast that I started with Milton the Manimal, Zach. Earlier this year, we started in January. We've been doing it for, 4.5 months, now 5 months. You can find the Comic-Con podcast on all your major platforms as far as Google Podcasts, Apple iTunes, Spotify, Anchor FM. We drop videos every Friday morning, so it's a nice ride to work type of thing, or if you're working out, whatever. And then I occasionally drop a Star Wars spec, and I actually have one prepared dropping tomorrow for May the 4th. And then Zach does his Mutant Mondays, so he drops some X-Men or Mutant news, and then I'm out there hunting, going to shops in the community and, buying Star Wars books, Marvel, DC, Image, Indie, whatever you're talking about. So a lot of fun.
Awesome. Whoever ends up joining now or whenever, I have multiple links down below. I've got their link tree down there, as well as the direct link to the Comic-Con podcast on YouTube. So if that's your thing, you're more welcome. Just bleep, do the thing. All right. So how did you get started in the collectings? Like, let's get the real easy, simple intro, get that out there for the new people on my channel.
Sure. So I started collecting in the late 80s, early 90s. I'm a young 80s baby. So I started collecting those Batman, DC comics, probably around issue, just around 400. And it's funny, the kid who got me into it, we were friends. We always collected toys. And one day he just showed up at my house and all these G.I. Joe comics, Batman comics. I could still remember Action Comics, stuff like that. And I was just like, well, this is interesting because I grew up buying the toys from the Marvel Secret War toys to, those old DC Comics toys that are just only their arms and hands and legs moved. And it was just a love from there. Seeing Batman 89 in theaters, I was just like, oh my God, this is so cool. So it's I saw that movie and the Superman movies well before I was into comic books. I was like, oh my God, there's comic books. I can read something. So for about 4 years, I would say I collected comic books. And then a little thing called Girls came about. And I was just like, ooh, don't think I'm going to do this anymore. So literally took a hiatus from, I would say 94 until 2011. I shit you not.
Damn.
So, yeah. The only comic I ever picked up from probably 2005 to 2011 was monthly. So I would only go into a comic shop once a month and I'd pick up the Transformers book, whether it was on Dreamwave, Image, Mirage, and then eventually when it went to IDW. So every month it'd be one book. I'd be in there on a Wednesday or Thursday and I'd be out the door. That's all I did.
Wow.
And then 2011 came around and I started seeing local shows in New Jersey, here in New Jersey. I live in New Jersey. So I was just like, oh, let me go check one of these out. So at that point, it was interesting. I had a ton of collection, and I actually ended up giving it away. And I kept some stuff, and in my head, like I could see the books where they stopped, where I didn't give them up. And then after that, so like in my head, I probably know I gave away like First War Machine, and I'm pretty sure like I gave away a First Harley Quinn, because I had Batman Adventures 1 to like 11, and then it's just I didn't have the BA 12, and I'm just like, I know I wouldn't have stopped like like this, or just gave it away. It's just very odd that I would have done that.
That's unfortunate, isn't it?
Yeah, it was sad. So I was just like, let me go to a show. I ended up going to a show. I had a short box. I just started buying all these Batman books, like in the everything that I didn't have when I stopped collecting. So I was in the 300s and the 400s. So everything up until like Nightfall I had. Then I got out of it. So I was like, then I'm getting all the 500s. Now I'm getting all the 600s. And then all of a sudden, DC decided to do this Rebirth thing. And or Flashpoint, after Flashpoint, they did the New 52.
Mm-hmm.
So the New 52, I was just like, let me, maybe I'll get into some of these. So literally I went from maybe buying 5 titles. I did Justice League, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and maybe like Teen Titans was like the first 5. And I was like, all right, I really like these. And then 5 titles became like 40 titles, where I was getting like every title for this new, like new number ones. I was like, oh, I can get every new number one. So I was reading everything, even stuff that I never cared about, like Aquaman. I was like, that was a great read. Green Lanterns, I never read. The Wonder Woman, Batwoman, all the DC titles for the Bat family, like Nightwing, Batgirl. I'm just like, every week I was going in there getting like a stack of the New 52 stuff. And then even I was still kind of, then I started picking up some of the Marvel stuff. So then I was like, I like Spider-Man. So I started picking up all the Spider-Man stuff, the X-Men stuff.
So the stack of 40 become 80 here pretty soon, right? With all the Marvel.
Yes. Pretty soon. It was like $100 a week.
Oh my God.
At the comic shop.
I can't imagine that. No, I'm at like 5 on my pull list right now. That's where I'm at. Let me get in this chat here real quick. Yeah. What is up, Vexton? I'm pretty sure this is Devin from my work. I work at Amazon. We used to work working together, kind of sort of thing. So welcome, Zuni, fist bump. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, so we got Wookie Fodder here saying what's going on. I feel like Nemesis and I follow the exact same timeline. Oh my goodness. New 52 sucked me back into full swing. I was doing almost every title and Marvel. It was a mess. It sounds like it was a mess. There was definitely a time. It's funny you mentioned the New 52. There was a time where I was like, man, you know what? Like, I want to get all the New 52 number ones. And then I was just like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get that, because that's kind of a lot. Like, I know at one point I had like Animal Man New 52 number 1, but there was like the book I had, it was bad. It was just beat up. I still got a Swamp Thing number 1. I've got the Batman number 1.
Well, there was 52 titles, so I literally was doing probably about 40 out of the 52.
Like that's just so much. It's just so much. So you are primarily a DC guy then, like through and through?
Yeah, it was my collecting in my early days when I was younger was definitely Marvel. Like looking back at what I had, and then eventually like donated. Like I was into New Mutants, X-Force, X-Factor, X-Men, all the Spider-Man stuff, even like. All those 90s characters like Darkhawk and Sleepwalker. And I had like Fantastic Four. Like that then it was really, I only had collected Superman and Batman. And then once the New 52 came out, it completely reversed. And then like probably a year or two later, I went to New York Comic Con and I was waiting in line. And I still remember this. This is how I got it. This is how we're going to get to my indie kick. I was waiting in line to meet Jimmy Palmiotti and Justin Gray. And they were doing All-Star Western. And I was getting all of the tie-ins signed, or actually all the number 1s and all the tie-ins that had that dealt with the Court of Owls. So Batman and Robin, Batman Detective, Red Hood, everything. Waiting in line, there's this girl in front of me, and we're just kind of, I just start talking to this girl, and I'm just like, oh, I'm like, you like Jimmy Palmiotti? I'm like, what do you like? And she showed me this indie book, and I can't even recall the book at the time, but she just started like spewing out all these indie names for these books. And I was just like, I've never heard of these titles before. So I went home that weekend. I went to a shop here in Jersey, and that title was Saga. And at this
Oh
point,
God! Look
this
who
point-
just like walked in too, right when the saga starts talking. All right, here you go, Andy.
oh, that was so natural, like unprepared. So
Andy knew. He's like, he didn't even have to say it. Like, I know he's gonna bring it up, and it's like the perfect time.
So Saga at this point was only at issue 5. So I actually grabbed issues 2 through 5 for cover price. They were still on the racks.
Oh my
And I
God.
remember seeing the number 1 on the wall, and it was $15. I was like, at this point, for what I was doing when it first came out, and buying already all these Marvel and DC books, I'm like, I don't know, $15 for this number 1. Am I really gonna like this? And I ended up buying it. There was a first print.
Oh,
I ended up sending it to CGC.
Bastard.
I ended up sending in the CGC. It came back, unfortunately, came back at 9.6. And later years, I ended up selling that and upgraded to a 9.8. But yeah, from Saga, it just expanded my horizons with the indie stuff. I was reading everything from Image, like anything that came out, like East of West, Deadly Class, Tokyo Ghost. Now, even current, Shadecraft. There's so many, and now with the Boom Studio stuff, Something is Killing the Children. But like back then, like I was just like, oh my God, I love all this Image stuff. There was tons of series that I was getting. And now I'm doing the big 3. Now I'm doing DC at New 52. I'm doing Marvel, and I'm doing all this indie stuff. My short boxes were getting filled up within a month. And I'm like, I got to cut some stuff.
Yep.
So that's when I started cutting like the New 52 series. And a lot of those early titles only went like 10 to 15 issues. So that was good. So at least it's like, okay, last issue, sure. I was like, I'll just collect it until now. And now it's really turned completely around. Now I do a limited reading. I do mainly DC. And I really think I'm neck and neck with DC and the indie stuff. There's so much indie stuff out there. The only thing I do on the Marvel side is Star Wars, and typically Star Wars and Spider-Gwen, because she's one of my favorite characters. So it's really all I do on the Marvel stuff.
Nice. So do you still, or when you started back up with the indie stuff, did you dig into Spawn? Were you interested in Spawn at all?
Spawn growing up in the 90s was always my brother's thing. So in the 90s, my brother was big into like Spawn, Shadowhawk, Ninja K, all the Valiant stuff, all those foil covers. Like, in the 90s, it was always those flashy die cut or foil covers. So he was always into that stuff. He was a big Capullo and McFarlane fan. So that was his stuff. I was more into like the real superheroes. So Spawn, I liked. Growing up, I remember reading the books with him, and then watching like the movie, the HBO series. Like I still have that on DVD, that HBO trilogy in the movies. But something about the non-superhero aspect of things in the indie world has just been unbelievable to read.
Right. I can completely relate to that. I do. If anything, I actually end up finding myself wanting to read more indie stuff than read like current mainstream, quote unquote, Marvel DC stuff. I do find myself doing that, unless it's like specific titles. So like current main titles that I read: Thor, Venom. What else is on my pull list that's like main? I think that's actually probably it right now. To be perfectly honest, I actually don't think I have any DC on my pull list, to be honest. The new Batman stuff that was going on, I don't know. It's like with Star Wars, there's just so many different stories and stuff, and you got Batman, it's the same thing. So I was just like, I don't even want to try to mess with that. But like indie stuff, Once and Future has been on my list. We Only Find Them When They're Dead.
Same.
And then one of the first indie series that I actually picked up when I started collecting was a title called The Weatherman. Which was a really good. I really enjoyed it. I've got all the single issues for Volume 1 and Volume 2, and I'll tell you what, like I really don't want to like put them up for sale on the auction on the 14th. Shameless plug, but I might, because it's a good series and somebody should else read it if they haven't read it. But I do relate to like the indie stuff a lot, and I think especially nowadays a lot of people also would agree that the indies are just killing it. Boom Studios, especially Something's Killing the Children, is just like crazy. And then, of course, if the people out there that started collecting Kanto when it started coming out, like that's like a gold mine right there too. And unfortunately, I missed out on Kanto. I missed out on Something Killing Children. And yes, I missed out on Saga, but I did read the first issue of Saga, and that was quite a roller coaster. I'll tell you that. I did not expect all this stuff that was going on, but the story is intriguing. So eventually I'll read it. But I'm just waiting for Andy to send me a Saga book for my PC. And
I've been trying. I want to get that Saga 1 off of him, that retailer.
And he just
that RRP is just, every time he puts that up in his videos, it just haunts me, because I probably could have bought that book like years ago, and even last year, and like 9/8 were like under 2K, and I'm just like, I don't mind paying that price because I know how limited it is, and now they're in like the 3K range. So it's just disgusting, because there was only so many. It's not like Saga 1. Even Saga 1 had a very low print run, but
it's just coming hard.
Just kick him out.
And Andy did just do a live unboxing for his Mail Call Monday in the 9.6 image first.
Saw that.
Yeah, and I think oh my god, last day was 5K. That's disgusting.
Yeah, see, it's sad.
I will say the image first, I wouldn't be opposed to having an image first, although I really honestly would rather just take like a second, third, fourth something print. Personally, just because like I really hate seeing that giant black bar down the side of the book. I did have a Walking Dead #1 image first print. I did have that book, but I ended up selling that up so I could, or trade it up so I could get other like more collectible stuff. What's up, Mastodon Comics and Music? What book? We're currently talking about Saga because Andy is here, and that's just what he does. He gets in a room and everybody starts talking Saga. So,
and you know what, so just to kind of round with the Saga talk, I'm a completionist by heart. So, well, actually, it's sad because when I go on the same thing, like you have the CLZs app, I go on my CLZs app, and when I look at it and I click on the books I own, I'm like, okay, I got this one, and I got the B cover, and then okay, I got the one in 25. When I look at my Saga series, the only ones I'm missing from 1 until 54 when they completed is the retailer one that he has, and then I'm missing a 4th and a 5th print of #1. But other than that, I have the entire series 1 to 52, 2 sets. I have 2 full sets from 1 to 52. First printing of #1, but then even I have like #2 has a 2nd print, a 3rd print. Issue 3 has a 2nd print. 4, 5, and 6 have 2nd prints. So I even have those for my personal collection. So that's how neurotic and completionist I am. For Saga.
That is a lot.
Just like really, when I see it in the back, I'm just like, God, I could have bought that. I didn't.
Oh my goodness, that I could not do that. I'm like at this stage where I'm at collecting. And even when I started, I was never like, I need like the entire run 100% completed. I would do chunks. So like when I started out, I decided I want to get issues like 1 through 10 of like X-Force. So I do that. Or, I'd make sure I have the first volume of, whatever series or whatever it would be. But it would be smaller runs. Like I'm not about to be like Greg, the Bearded Comic Bro, where I want to collect all of Volume 1 or anything like that, or like how Southern Comic Geek said he wanted to collect from like 400 to like 600 for Batman Volume 1 or whatever, or Detective Comics or whatever it was. That's just a lot. That is a lot of comic books. So like, for example, on my CLZ app, my total comic book library is 410 comics. That is my comic book library. I recently saw another YouTuber, Journalist Comics and Pop Culture. He posted on Instagram his comic library, which is over 18,000 comics. That is a lot. Like talking about completions and like full runs. Like I don't know. Like I don't even have the space. Like I have one filing cabinet just over on the other side of this giant fat boy over here. just filing cabinet. And I actually reorganized my comic book collection, and it all fits in 3 short boxes on the top drawer. That's it. I am like full, except, I could filter down into the bottom. But yeah, like completing runs, that's such a I'm OCD to an extent, but like that's a lot. I don't know how you guys do it.
Well, that's my goal for Batman. So I've been working on Batman probably over the past, when I got back into collecting in 2011, I did the new 52, but then I worked my way backwards. So I worked my way from like the 600s I needed, 500s down to 300 to 400 to 200, 100. So now I'm under issue 100. And just to, look at my CLC app, which we can continually promote on this podcast today.
Absolutely.
So for volume, I have everything complete. Obviously, volume 2 and volume 3 up to current. Volume 1, I'm only missing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm only missing, let's call it 85 issues from 1 to 100. So that means I'm only missing 85 issues total of Batman. Just Batman, not Detective, not Legends of the Dark Knight, or any of these other series. 85 issues.
And
I'm in
those
double
are
digits.
Oh my God.
Yes.
So like from issues 1 to whatever, what's the biggest chunk you're missing?
The low end. Like I have my lowest number is a 27. I have a 27, a 31, a 36, 42, 49, 59. And then I have like one of each in each 10, but from 90, basically 96 through complete, it says 99 through now. 99 through 713 was the last issue for issue volume 1.
Wow. So, yo, what is up, Tapia? Thanks for stopping by, man. Look at this. Hashtag keep digging through them long boxes. Awesome. Thanks for stopping by, man. That's quite a lot. That's a big endeavor trying to get those low number Batmans.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you'll ever get a Batman number 1?
Nope, because I just saw 1.5 go for 40K. So unless on the high end of the Star Wars, I sell my entire Star Wars collection, I probably could, to be honest.
Okay, well, here's the question. Are you willing to part with Star Wars to go for Batman, or is Batman really like...
to be honest, at this time, the Star Wars books are not even at their prime. And I love...
You don't think?
Oh, God, no. God, no. I bought, here we'll get into this talk, and I've only probably told this on 2 other channels.
Oh, sweet, awesome, super special. Here we go.
Which is probably about 8 feet away from me. My Clone Wars number 1, and I don't know if I told this on Andy's channel. Clone Wars number 1, the variant. I have
Skeff just picked one of those up too. Yes. Actually,
yes. So last year, this was prior to COVID. I have a 9.6. Person selling it was someone who I bought off Instagram all the time. He goes, listen, I'm getting a 9.6 and a 9.8. I'm keeping the 9.8 in my collection. Do you want the 9.6 for $300?
What?
I go, I really don't have $300 right now, so I'm gonna have to pass right now. He goes, well, listen. He's like, he screenshotted the CGC. He goes, listen, they're of course at CGC right now, and he lives in Hawaii. It's going to take a while for it. He's like, when they come in, I'll ask you again. He asked me again. And I said, I really don't have the $300. But I was like, you know what? I was like, I'll take it.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And I'm sweating telling the story because I can imagine if I would have not picked up that book as $300.
Look my face. Like, considering like I know how much Skeff paid for his, I think he either got 9.4 or 9.6 or 9.2. It was over 9.2, I think. But goodness gracious, that's a deal of a lifetime.
Yeah.
Have you gotten any other better deal than that?
Well, last year, deals or fines, I should say.
Okay, let's separate it. Okay. Let's separate it just to make it a little bit more fair. So, like, what's the best deal, like an oh shit moment for the best deal you could ever have, and then we'll do the oh shit moment for like the best find.
Best deal other than that is probably paying $40 for and this you may not know, Supergirl and the Legion of Superheroes number 23, the variant. It's an Adam Hughes cover. She's sitting on like a meteorite. And that book at the time was going for like $500-600.
Wow.
And it was on the wall at a comic show, and I even picked it up, and I was just like shaking because I was looking for this book for so long, and I'm shaking, and I'm like, oh, that's a cool book. I was just like, $40. He's like, yeah, and I was just like, I couldn't take the money out fast enough. Like, I'm just like fumbling, and I'm like, here's $40. Here's $40. Like,
oh my god, that is awesome.
Oh my god, like that was probably my best other purchase. But obviously, the Clone Wars one is high and far, and even more recently, last year, I picked up a Clone Wars one regular cover for $80, and this was well before the hype. I think at this point, I think I picked it up in January, and it's funny is this book was sitting at the shop for 3 weeks on the wall.
The Clone Wars number one?
Yeah, I just kept looking at it. Nobody cared. And eventually, like, I go, oh, can I take a look at it? I looked at it. I was like, can you do any better?
Okay.
And he goes, no. And I was like, fine, I'll take it at 80. I sent it off to pressing. I sent it off to Rocket Comics. Shout out Rocket Comics because they pressed the book. I did a live unboxing and came back at 9.8.
Oh my god.
So
for the Clone Wars number one.
So for $380, not including, pressing and grading, I have a 9.6 and a 9.8.
That is quite amazing. So, speak of the devil, Skeff, I think you just might have missed the most incredible Clone Wars number one variant story ever. Nemes1s Pr1me here picked up a 9.6 for $300 of the variant Clone Wars number one.
Yeah.
I don't even know. So, even though that seems okay. So, the only thing I could say, so like if you really wanted that Batman number one, since you're trying to complete, like you definitely would have to probably fork up some of the collection in order to do it. But I know it could be done. And how I know this is I don't know how much of Alex the Comic Hoarder you watch, but he did pick up the Golden Age first and origin story appearance of Wonder Woman. And he picked that All-Star Comics issue number 8 at like a 3.5 or a 4.0 grade. And when he was talking about it, I was like, how expensive is this? It can't be that expensive. And I went and looked it up, and it's like big money. It's like almost buying house money. Or it's like, no, not house money, but like buying a car money. Like, yeah. So like if you really wanted to, you could totally do it because you've got probably the best and biggest Star Wars collection out there if you wanted to like sell it, which hopefully you don't because Star Wars is amazing, right?
Oh, absolutely not. And you follow me on Instagram, and I'm out there on Instagram under Nemes1s Pr1me. I posted the picture last week. If you saw, it was about 15 Star Wars books, maybe, on my stairs.
Yep.
And I said I could probably sell this and buy a Golden Age Batman. And wouldn't you know, someone actually messaged me and offered me money.
Oh my god!
Do you want to know what the offer was?
If you want to say it, go for it.
15,000.
Oh my god! That is ridiculous.
And I said no because I couldn't sell it. Like I couldn't. He goes, oh, are you looking to sell those? I was like, not really, but I was like, I'll entertain an offer. Like it puts me in a position to buy something like Golden Age, like Batman, like single digits. And he's like, I could give you 15,000. I go, oof.
Is that like probably the most shocking thing you've ever heard? Like, just like, yeah, 15K, no problem. What?
Yeah, it was the most money I've ever been offered for a comic.
That's crazy.
It was
here it goes, Skeff. It'll be worth more in 2 years.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. What did the wifey say about the offer?
I didn't tell her.
Oh, snap. Oh, Lord. That's crazy. I'm just gonna give you tons of kudos because I think a lot of people don't realize the value of comic books. Most people who aren't collectors like we are outside looking in, when you tell them I collect comic books and they're like, oh really? And it's like, yeah, like it's like super awesome. And like you are like collecting and preserving basically pieces of art in like history and literature. And they don't realize that. And then you start like talking about, yeah, I picked up this book and, I paid $40 for it or whatever. And it's like, $40 for a comic book? What? I was like, that's nothing. Like, I don't even need to bring out like how much an Action Comics, number one's going for, $3.5 million. Let me just give you like a low grade, something mediocre, and like it's worth like hundreds, thousands of dollars, and people just like, I had no idea. I have no idea about it. So like, it's super awesome when you get a collection like you have, and you're like, let me just show this off. These are like my top Star Wars books. I'm just going to put them up on my stairs and flex a little hard, and then somebody's like, yeah, I'll give you $15K. Like that's some serious validation for the collectability and like the hard work you put in. So that's awesome. Congratulations on having a super collection just with Star Wars, So I want to know what is your biggest Star Wars spec book with everything going on, like that's already happened, and what is potentially going to happen? Because I want to know what is the spec book that you are really banking on here.
Ooh, spec book. Something that's kind of popped, or something that's like not even close yet.
What about kind of popped? Like there's some whispers, like Varys from Game of Thrones?
I think Heir to the Empire has the biggest legs to grow. All it took was Ahsoka Tano to drop Grand Admiral Thrawn's name in Mandalorian, and that book went from like a $500 9.8 to about a $1,300 book overnight. And that's with no actor.
It's this one right here, right?
Yes. That took no time. That took nothing. No casting, no physical appearance, nothing. Look at $1,200. You could have bought that book probably for like $500 last year in the middle of the summer. Didn't care. Nobody cared about it. I was buying them raw last year for like $50. Like nobody cared. And now at 9.8s are in like $1,200. So
look at this, $200. Just raw copies. 8.0, very fine. $200, $250. That's ridiculous. There we go. What's the latest sales? It's disgusting. It's like Saga.
And he hasn't been cast. We don't know if he's 100% showing up, but when someone gets cast or they show him off, that book is going to skyrocket just like Clone Wars 1.
So what is it? Why? I kind of have some knowledge about Thrawn, but for the normies, okay, like know some Star Wars but don't know Star Wars. Why is Thrawn such a big character and speculation, and like what is so significant about this character?
So Thrawn first appeared in the Star Wars Rebels animated show, and it was great to see him because from what we previously know about Thrawn, he was in the Dark Horse comics, he was in the novel Heir to the Empire and that trilogy of books. But Heir to the Empire takes place in comic books after Return of the Jedi. It takes place after everything that's happened with what we originally knew of the original movies. Okay. So when they brought him into canon, now you're bringing him in pre-episode 4, 5, and 6. So you're seeing a younger Thrawn, which is just something that we didn't see. We really only saw him post, we saw him with Luke Skywalker. We're not seeing that. And the book didn't really move too much. Nobody really cared about animated stuff then. It was just like, oh, okay, Thrawn's showing up.
Okay, so Thrawn, he didn't show up in any live action. It was just in the Clone Wars, or
just Star Wars Rebels.
Okay, Rebels. All right.
Yeah. So where the whole Rebels crew, Kanan and Jarrus, Sabine, Ezra, Hera, Chopper, and Zabar. So it was just really cool to see a villain in the Star Wars universe who has a cult following. And now it's just with where the timeline in Rebels is prior to Luke's movies. And then all of a sudden now we're post Return of the Jedi and Mandalorian, and we have Ahsoka Tano just saying his name, which means that he's somewhere in the universe of Star Wars. And he's going to appear in live action somewhere, whether it's on Ahsoka's show, whether it's on an unnamed show, whether it's a movie.
He's going to pop up and everybody's going to lose their minds, right?
Yeah. So $1,200 for a 9.8 right now is a good investment. If you can get it for $1,000, get it now while it's under 1,500, because in no time, once Mandalorian comes back and they announce anything, even the Rebels crew, if no one's ever seen Star Wars Rebels, any one of those guys or girls show up and it's post Return of the Jedi, that book is going to skyrocket. It's going to go up without a doubt.
So with Skeff over here dropping some Kanan #1 second print 9.6s, is Kanan confirmed? Is that actually going to happen, or is that also a spec book in your opinion?
Oh, Kanan #1 is an absolutely great spec book for the simple reason is there's tons of first appearances in that book. You got Kanan Jarrus, of course. You have Sabine Wren. You have Ezra Bridger, Hera. So that book alone right there has 5 first appearances for characters who, again, only showed up in an animated series.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that for people who have watched Star Wars Rebels, this is, of course, spoilerish. At the end of Star Wars Rebels, both Ezra Bridger and Thrawn disappear. They get, I don't really want to get too much into it. They disappear, we'll say. But of course, now we know that Thrawn's somewhere. So that means if Thrawn is somewhere in the universe, that means Ezra Bridger is somewhere in the universe.
Okay.
That also means, and at the end of Star Wars Rebels, we see Ahsoka joining up with Sabine Wren to look for Ezra Bridger. Now, with the introduction of Ahsoka Tano in live action, that scene, and Dave Filoni said it, that scene still holds true of somewhere in Star Wars lore. So whether Ahsoka Tano, what we see in Mandalorian season 2, is prior to her going to get Sabine, or is it after her going to get Sabine Wren, we will see Sabine Wren in live action.
Okay. So here's another question. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to be throwing a lot of questions at you. How much more of a spec book do you think Kanan #1 is versus Star Wars Legacy #1? Do you think one is really going to hold more water? Star Wars Legacy #1's got a lot of first appearances in it. And I feel like there's like more potential if they want to really try to expand the Star Wars universe into live action and whatnot to bring more forefront. They might be taking a little bit of both, or do you think it's going to be one more or the other?
So you have to look at the numbers. So Kanan #1, and it's sad that I know this, but Kanan #1 had a print run of a little over 100,000. I think it was like 108,000. I'm sure Star Wars Legacy #1 had a print run of, I'm going to say, less than 25,000, because Star Wars Clone Wars #1 had a print run of like 32,000. And at that time, nobody really cared of any of that Dark Horse stuff. So I'm sure even Heir to the Empire was probably in the 20,000. So with Star Wars Kanan, let's go Kanan #1. I was picking that book up raw last year in January, February for cover price to $10. 9.8s were $100. Now 9.8s are like $400. So in a year's time, I've already tripled my money for a 9.8.
Okay.
Star Wars Legacy, again, lower print run. I think right now more cult following characters with Darth Talon, Darth Krayt, Cade Skywalker. But again, sky's the limit, because these characters, even though they're not canon, like that book is not considered canon, the fact that they took Heir to the Empire, Grand Admiral Thrawn, and put him in Star Wars Rebels was just like, wow, they took a Dark Horse character from technically the future of Star Wars lore and brought him into before, with the Empire. People are expecting that Darth Krayt may show up in the Kenobi series, or we may get him as what he is during the Republic era, which is Ashalat Fett, which is like he's a Tusken Raider Jedi Knight.
Right. That's what I learned today from my buddy from work. We were talking about the Darths and whatnot, and trying to find like who is like the most evil / best / powerful or whatever. And Darth Krayt was definitely on that list. And I didn't know that, because like the Tusken Raiders, all you see is like their cover over their head, and then they got the the goggles and stuff. So I didn't realize that they were like anything else under that. So it was interesting.
He was the only Tusken Raider, and well, his father, and then the son, which is who becomes Darth Krayt. But could we see that? Because have you read Star Wars Legacy, or do you have any other issues other than the one that you showed off to me?
No, all I had was the one, because here, like my Star Wars collection is so limited. Like it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it's decent. Okay, it's decent, but it's still very limited. So I've got from the first series 1, 3, 6, 39, 40, and 44. And then I've got the Darth Maul issue 2, Darth Vader issue 1, and then Legacy. That's it. That's all I got. So my thing is, though, for me collecting Star Wars books is like it does need to have significance. Like it needs to be able to hold water long term, but also like even if it's like like a cult favorite, cult classic or something like that. But for me, key issues are important, and they need to have some long term hold and value over time. So that's like my collection is very small, because like that's what I go for. That's my goal. So I don't know a whole bunch of Star Wars lore. I do know a little bit, but not very much. And by a little bit would be like, I do remember watching the Clone Wars animated, like back in the day, which, you go through and you cycle through all your TV shows and stuff like that. And so I haven't watched like another animated show in a hot second. So I might actually go back through and watch that. So like my collection and knowledge on Star Wars, especially Dark Horse stuff, is just like,
there's a lot.
Like, it's so much. Like I don't even know. Andy, what'd you say? Vincent, you should pick up some Nemes1s Prime Star Wars mystery boxes next round. I might do that. I might do that, but it's like you gotta like special me a mystery box, but don't tell anybody else. But you'd be like, okay, let me put the V on here, and I'll just send it to him.
Oh, I can't do that. It's funny. Like some people are always asking me, and the next one's coming. Round four of my mystery boxes is coming. It's just unfortunately with CGC is just such a pain. But back to the Star Wars Legacy 1. So yes, Darth Krayt, he was a Jedi Knight. There's a whole origin of him, of like how he became Darth Krayt. But in the middle of that run, I think it's issue like 16 or 17, there's a Obi-Wan cover. And in that issue, there's actually, it's current and past. You actually see Darth Krayt kind of telling you like stories of old, because it's Star Wars, because he was in during the whole Clone Wars, like Age of the Republic, but then something happened, he froze himself, and now it's like 200 years later than Star Wars history. But in that issue, him and Obi-Wan fight. So, but he's a Jedi Knight. It's well before he looks like he does in Legacy. So he is back in like prior, and it's on Tatooine. So that's why a lot of people are specking on the Star Wars 1, because if a Tusken Raider wields a lightsaber, we all know who it is. Well, we all think and know who it is if people who are specking on it. So that's why I'm saying that it is possible, because the Kenobi series is set 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. He's in Tatooine. It's, his PTSD he's dealing with. What's it for just some random Jedi who wants to show up?
So when you say his PTSD from taking out Anakin, is that what you mean? Okay.
Yeah. Kind of him living off being a hermit.
Okay, got you. Skeph's got a question for you. Are you stocking up on Canon 5 cameo of Sabine? Issue 16. I still fight the good fight that Kanan 1 is their first appearance, and anybody who thinks that Kanan 6 is
what more valuable for the simple fact that they're all on the cover. I still tell people, hey, go check out Kanan #5, because not only are they in the comic Kanan #5, but on the last page there is the panel which shows what the next issue cover is going to look like, and it's issue #6. So I still fight it. I still get Kanan #5s anytime I can find them.
Is that kind of like a Hulk 180 versus 181 kind of thing?
It's really more of like a dark side, because he's on a TV in Jimmy Olsen's book, first appearance, and then like New Gods, he's in like a TV, and then Forever People, it's finally his like first appearance.
Okay.
It's the same thing.
You mean that one app? Hey, look, okay, like for as much flack as Key Collector app does get, because I'm going to assume that's what we're talking about.
Oh, geez, sorry.
I will say, though, it is beneficial to some extent. It is beneficial because Go Collect, even though I prefer using Go Collect is shit about having like first appearance, important information, whatever, on a lot of the books. Like if you look at a lot of the Star Wars stuff, I was looking at that before we got on here. Like there is no listing for like Star Wars Legacy 1. They don't have any of those characters listed. Not even one.
Wow.
So, and then I was going through and looking at some other stuff, and it's the same thing. But even with just, Star Wars stuff, like there are some other books out there, from main titles, Marvel, DC, they don't have the descriptions laid out the way it should be, where it says first appearance, second appearance, or whatever. So like, even though I prefer Go Collect, I'll go to comicspriceguide.com and I'll look up there, because most of the time they usually have all that information. And if I'm just like wanting to just be able to click on a category and pick it and see everything for a Star Wars cheat sheet, I will look at Key Collector app. But I don't have a subscription. I think I used the Comic Tom subscription like one time, and then I was just like, all right, well, I'm not really using it, so whatever. Okay. All right, Andy, have a great night, man. Definitely more Star Wars stuff to talk about here in a little bit, so you will see that on the replay. All right. So before we got started, you said you had a question for me and you had to write it down.
Yeah. So your background, I can see Afro Samurai and Dragon Ball Z.
Yes.
So let's talk some anime. What's your favorite anime?
Favorite anime, bastard.
Current, all time, franchise, whatever you want to do.
Okay, so like my current, and it's just because it's so easy and I've watched it so many times, and like I like the feel of the anime. I like how they put it together on Netflix. I really enjoyed Baki.
Okay.
Baki the Grappler. You've never heard of it? Okay.
I know of it. I'm sure I saw it on my Netflix, because when things you may like, and of course, yes, I watch anime too, so that's where this conversation is going to go.
Okay.
I've probably seen it show up. Like,
okay, so Baki, it's just called Baki on Netflix.
Okay.
And it's the creator who did it. From what I've read and heard, the dude is weird. Like his writing in the manga is like very weird and just like awkward, maybe creepy. I don't know. But like in the TV series, in some episodes, it's like, okay, this is a little weird, a little cringy, but you're able to kind of push through it, because the majority of it is like the characters all have like a specialty. And like in the first series, like the first seasons on Netflix, the premise is there's these 5 death row inmates that all escape at the same time and all say the same thing, and it's called Synchronicity, is like the title of the whole thing. And then the dude of like the underground tournament comes to Baki, who's a 17-year-old prodigy, and he's like, hey, they're all coming after you because they know you're the world champ. And then it turns into this whole other thing. But it's really cool because like they really show and feature each fighter's like specialties and characteristics, and it's really cool. And they've got like some dope ass music that goes around with it.
Okay.
I just enjoy it. That's the thing I really enjoy right now. But the Afro Samurai, okay, like that probably might be my favorite anime of all time. It really might be. The artwork is so good. I really love the story because it is in part taken from actual history, where there actually was a black samurai. He came over and became a samurai. And it's very loose. Like that's pretty much it. But like I really like the story. It's hilarious because Samuel L. Jackson, separating from Afro and then Ninja Samurai is so great. I love the artwork a lot. I even got the video game back in the day on Xbox. Yeah, it was really fun.
Okay. Yeah.
But I very much like Japanese culture, samurai culture. I've got a full Japanese sleeve on my arm here. So it just kind of like hits all of those points for me. It's just a great story. I wish they would bring it back in some capacity. They did do that Afro Samurai Resurrection movie, which was pretty good. I enjoyed it. But I would like to see more of that, but I don't know. But I needed to get art for my wall. So I've got this giant canvas Hulk 181 here. And I was like, man, I'd really like to get an Afro Samurai. And it's perfect. It's all red and black except for the #1 headband, which is white. And you can see that and then flopping around. It's really cool. But Dragon Ball Z is like the top supreme of the list of all time. Dragon Ball Super is amazing. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Other than that, like there's probably some other anime and animated shows, but like since you brought them up, yeah, those are the big ones there. So
okay.
Here we go. Here's another thing. So Skeff, you put down Afro Samurai, Samurai Champloo, Bebop, Full Metal, Mushishi. I watched, I think, like 8 episodes of Cowboy Bebop. It's kind of hard to get into. Same with Trigon. I never really got into Trigon. I've heard Berserk is good. I haven't gotten into that. How dare you? Baki is great. I've been interested in getting into Bleach. Nitaro, I'm Dragon Ball all the way. Sorry, it's not going to happen. Here you go. No. Leave it alone. It's a perfect story the way it is. You might be. But yeah, if any anime I'd want to come back would be probably Afro Samurai.
Okay.
So here you go. My question to you and from Skeff, what is your favorite anime?
So franchise wise, I kind of have to go like franchises. So franchise wise, my #1 of all time will be Gundam. I've watched pretty much all this. I would say the majority of the series from the original Gundam from '78 up until like the mid 2000s. So you're talking like Gundam, you're talking Gundam Wing, Gundam Seed, Destiny, MS 8th Team, 00, 0083, like. And now that they announced the movie for the Gundam, kind of revitalized my Gundam watching. So I've been watching it a lot on like YouTube, and Hulu has some of them. And the original universe, which is called Universal Century, all the different anime series that they did, whether they came out, because they came out at different times. Like one came out in the late 70s, which is right before Transformers and stuff like, and other those type of shows like GoBots. And then you had a series here in the 80s, and then you had, so the first series was in during the 1 Year War, it's called, in 0079. But then there's like a series called 0080, which happens a year later. Then there's the MS 8th Team, which happens during the 1 Year War, but it's in like a different part of the world. Like, and then there's 0083, which I'm currently working on, which is 3 years after the 1 Year War. And then there's other series like in between here and there. But and then past that, Gundam Wing is my all-time favorite of all the Gundams. Bleach is #2. Where I said to Skev, now we just became best friends, is because he said Samurai Champloo. That's a great series. I'm big into the mech and samurai thing, so
Okay.
Afro Samurai's up there. I like Bleach, like I said, is definitely a #2. I need to finish Bleach because I watched it, and then for whatever reason I think the last story arc I kind of waved out. I want to think like after. Have you seen Bleach? No, you didn't see.
I
Bleach,
haven't
so.
seen it. I feel like I've seen like, you know how like on YouTube they'll be like, here's some of like the top like anime moments and stuff like that. And there was like one scene in there from Bleach or whatever, and it was like apparently super epic and whatnot. I'm just like, it looks cool. I'm intrigued, but I don't understand the epicness of it.
It's similar to Dragon Ball because he starts out as like a nobody fighter, Soul Reaper, and then he always gets more powerful. Like that's like the that's always the interim of like those type of shows. So it's very similar to Dragon Ball, where he's like, it's like Goku, and then what does he go before Super Saiyan? It's like
It's
Tekken.
it's Kaioken.
Yeah, Kaioken, then it's like Super Saiyan 1, 2, 3. That's
Mhm.
a similar thing with like Bleach. Like the characters have their, the regular Shikai, and then they do Bankai, and it's just, I could go all night on that too. Oh wow, Samurai 7. Shit, man. I'm telling you, me and Skep just became best friends.
Yeah.
Even like on my DVDs, like here, like I could just kind of see from afar. Like Escaflowne is a great one. That was a great series, and the movie was so much better than the series. Neogenesis Evangelion.
Okay, so you said you like mech stuff. So
Yeah.
did you ever watch the series called Big O?
Yes, and I really wasn't a big fan.
Really?
Big O, yeah. I like
Because I didn't really get into Gundam because I think I was more focused on Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z during that time, I guess you could say. I don't know. But like I was intrigued by Big O back in the day because I don't know why. And I can't seem to find it anywhere to watch apparently, but I just want to see if you knew.
Yeah, I recall of it, but it's just
Oh, so Skeff's favorite mech show was Big O. Okay, cool. Skeff, we
Hmm.
just became even more friends.
Yeah, there's so many good series like Berserk. I feel like I watched some of it. I never finished it. I couldn't get into Cowboy Bebop. Full
Yeah.
Metal Alchemist. I've heard it's great, and I've kind of tried to watch it. I can't. Mushi. I don't know that one. Again, Baki. Naruto. I could never get into.
Yeah. What about
there's
Attack on
so-
Titan? Are you watching Attack on Titan?
Yes, I need to catch up on season 3. I want to say I'm like halfway through season 3, and I know season 4 is out now.
My wife is like that's like the anime that she's like really making sure she's staying on top of. And we watched like the first season, maybe the second season together. It was good, but like just kind of like lost interest. Ooh, One Punch Man. Do you enjoy One Punch Man?
No.
Really? What is it
Yeah.
about One Punch Man you don't like?
I don't know. I don't like superhero anime like that.
Okay.
Like, because I feel like that's what it is.
Okay. What
Trying to
about
think of
Death
other
Note?
like Death Note was good.
Did you
I
like the
actually
movie?
Yes.
The movie was good.
Movie.
Like
love
a
the
lot of
movie.
people hated on it.
Well, there's the Bleach movie that's on Netflix, which I've never finished, but for a movie like that, it's fun. I think Death Note was amazing, even though like the reviews were, people like didn't like it. I think what's his name? Who voices?
Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe, who voices.
It was super creepy. It was awesome.
So when I first saw that trailer, I was just like, oh, I can't wait for this.
Mm-hmm.
Cannot wait for this.
I watched it. I didn't know anything about Death Note, and I watched the movie, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I ended up watching the anime because I knew the cult following behind it. And then when the trailer dropped, I was like, I really need to watch the series before I watch this to really understand it. And of
Okay.
course, like watching like a 40 episode series compared to watching like an hour and a half movie is they need to cram so much. And there's a lot of things obviously they don't do, but that's because of the time constraint.
Right.
Then there's like a ton of like weird animes. Like if I looked up that I used to watch like DUHHH, DUHHH Sign.
I feel like I've like seen something from DUHHH, or like I played like a video game for DUHHH or something like that.
There was an anime, and then they did a video game.
Right. I feel like I've like seen that or played that. Like something like that. Wow.
Like,
small world.
I'm trying to think. There was this one anime there's like tons of animes that I grew up on.
Here's one that Skeff will really thoroughly enjoy. Did you enjoy Samurai Jack back in the day?
No, I'm not a big Jerry. What's his name? Takashi. Kind of the director who did all that.
Oh, okay.
But
what about
I like his Clone Wars stuff? Like he did the Clone Wars Adventures on the Cartoon Network. I like that, but I don't like
Samurai Jack. I enjoyed that. What were you
Speed Grafter? It's called.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, nobody's ever heard of it. I used to watch so much. Soul Taker was another one. It was like a 4 episode or maybe 6 episode.
What about Castlevania? Are you watching Castlevania on Netflix?
Yes, I need to finish season 3 because I know season 4 comes out next week or something, like 2 weeks.
Did you know that there is Castlevania comic book?
Yes.
I just purchased one, and it should be delivered here in like a couple days.
The whole series?
No, I just got the number 1. But I will get some of the other books because me and Andy, we were looking online and looking at the print run and because of the print run so low, the very last issue number 5, is like super. It's super hella cheap. I think it's like maybe $10, but like the 9.8s on the census are like super low, like single digits low. So like there's potential for some like actual, long-term hold, I guess you could say. So
it's funny. I actually had for that book, I actually had issues 1, 2, and 5, and I went to a shop down in South Jersey last week, and they actually still had issues 3 and 4 on the rack.
Wow.
Yeah, so I picked it up and I completed the series.
There you go. Awesome. Yeah, so I'll probably this weekend I'll probably end up trying to. I'm actually going to see if I can go to a shop this weekend because I think it's been like 3 weeks since I've gone to like back issue digging a shop. So I'm going to see if he's got any there. If not, I'll probably order some of the other issues online too as well. But
you want a good spec for a video game book?
Sure.
Devil May Cry.
Really?
I think Devil May Cry, if that ever becomes hell, they did Monster Hunter, and Devil May Cry has such a cult following. If they ever do a Devil May Cry movie or live action series, Devil May Cry is a good comic. I'm sure it's low printed, 100% low printed, and great covers too. Jay Lee. There's like a black and white. There's the video game variant. There's anytime I see him, I grab it.
Really?
Yeah, I want to say it's like I don't think it's IDW. I want to say it's what do I have on my CLZ's app? So there's the series that when they remade the game, they did the reboot. There's the DMC, but those, Patley, not Jay Lee.
So not this one.
Yeah, those are the ones. Those are the Dreamwave. Yeah, so Dreamwave was like a company that eventually went out of business because they were on like the bottom tier of all the different publishers. They did G.I. Joe. They had that for a while. They had Transformers, but once they lost the rights to IDW, they kind of just like folded. There's a lot of good series that came out of that. $95 for a 9.6. Yeah, there's 3 covers to that number 1. There's the video game, there's the regular, and then there's a black and white.
Interesting. Never would have thought about Devil May Cry. That was not a series I ever really got into, other than like using that character to play for like Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah, the same here.
To be perfectly honest,
I'm a Virgil guy. Anytime I can play as him. Like I bought the Devil May Cry 5 like in 2019 when it came out, and that was the first game I had to buy on PS5. Like I needed to play as Virgil on the PS5.
That's awesome. Let's see. I don't know. Actually, here I got a tough question for you. Actually, it'll be 2 parts. What is your favorite Star Wars movie? And then what is your favorite / what you think is the best Star Wars like TV, movie, animated, all around, suggest to anybody trying to get into Star Wars, this is where you should go and start. Go.
Empire Strikes Back. Clearly the best movie. Top 3, if I had to pick top 3, I would say Revenge of the Sith. I would say Rogue One. And then I would say Empire Strikes Back. And everybody can't believe I put Rogue One up there because I think Rogue One is very underrated. I think the Solo movie is very underrated because they happen during the times where we don't really know what, we know from the movies like episode 1, 2, 3. And then all of a sudden there's years later, Luke's born and he's, with Obi-Wan and there's Darth Vader, but nobody knows what happens in between that time before Rebels, before Star Wars Rebels, the animated, we had nothing. So we get the Solo movie and we get Rogue One, and it's not Jedis. It's just a militaristic and, a smuggler. As far as what to watch,
like you're all around Olympic gold winner. Like what would be that one TV, movie, animated, whatever would be the one that you would like suggest to new people trying to pick up in Star Wars and kind of get what's going on, or just like you're doing a poll and somebody puts all the Star Wars stuff, everything Star Wars franchise that's appeared on a screen, what would be your pick?
It's tough because animated, there's only Star Wars Rebels and the Clone Wars. So You could start. I would say start Clone Wars. Start at like season 2 when the animation's a little bit better.
So you put Clone Wars animated above The Mandalorian?
Yeah.
Why?
Because there's so much that happens, so many characters, and so much that happens in Clone Wars that echoes through years.
So you're looking at it from like an overall story, give you more information for everything else that's to come kind of thing?
Because characters are introduced that you would have known about prior, things that are happening now in The Mandalorian. You're just like, here, for instance, my brother's not a big Star Wars guy. He watches The Mandalorian. He loves it. You know, when me and other huge Star Wars fans out there first saw Bo-Katan show up in season 2, we were like, oh my God, she's live action. Oh my God, it's Katie Sackhoff who voices Bo-Katan in the Clone Wars and in Rebels, and now she's live action. My brother's just like, I guess that's cool. Like, I don't really see it, but for me, it's just like, oh my God, like this is a character that was in the Clone Wars and then was in Star Wars Rebels, and now we get to see her live action. Like, it's to the common watcher who's just like, oh, it looks like a Mandalorian, it's a girl. Okay. For me, I'm just like, they brought her. Who's next? And then 2 episodes, and then even in that episode where she's like, oh, go search out Ahsoka Tano. Okay, like,
Right.
but we knew Ahsoka was coming. Like, that was the thing. We knew Ahsoka was coming, but Bo-Katan, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, Skip said he lost his damn mind too. And then his wife was like, why are you being a crazy man watching the television?
I'll tell you, the Mandalorian episode where Ahsoka appears, I woke up at 3:00 in the morning to watch that.
Oh my God.
I hate East Coast because like we get it at 3 a.m. and it's like all the West Coasters get it right at midnight. So it's like you could stay up to midnight and watch like a 40-minute show. Me, I was just like alarm set at like 2:55, laying in bed on my phone. Oh God, it was so good. I didn't even want to go back to bed. And then I woke up and I watched it again on the big screen.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. I knew the significance of Ahsoka Tano. I kind of understood it from like the Clone Wars being Anakin's apprentice and all that kind of stuff. And then I was talking today at work and they were like, yeah, when she first appeared, people were just like bashing on the character and just like character is just like seems very whiny / whatever other, annoying word description you can put for it. And then slowly but surely, like the following started coming about. And then when we started hearing all the rumors and all that kind of stuff, and then Ahsoka Tano shows up with her lightsabers. They were white, which was cool as hell. And then she was dual wielding and she was just going to town. It was super awesome. I think they did a great job on the effects and the makeup and everything they did for Rosario Dawson. It was so good. I lost my shit when I watched it. And I think my wife also kind of had the same similar reaction that Skep's wife had, because I was like, oh my God, Ahsoka Tano. Holy shit. This is awesome. Like, man, I'll tell you what, the director and the brains behind like Iron Man and the entire MCU franchise, and then the director and the entire vision for The Mandalorian, that dude, his name is escaping me, but that dude should like receive like a Nobel Peace Prize. Like the vision is so there and it's so good.
Yeah. It's
yeah, here you go. Justin, did you watch the Clone Wars movie in theaters back in 2008?
No, that was the first movie I got on Blu-ray, I want to say, for like the PlayStation. I think the first time I watched it was like on my Sony PS3, we'll call it, at that time was out. I think it was like a package deal. But yeah, Mandalorian, you can watch, and Skef's wife, my brother at the time when he first watched it, you don't appreciate the characters.
Right.
For us, like for people that are big into Star Wars, we really appreciate, we want to see this live action thing. It transfer. It's the same thing with Jon Favreau. Yes. It transfers the same way we look at comics. People when we were growing up young, oh, you guys are nerds, like comic books, this and that. Back in the late 90s when they were doing X-Men and Blade and Spider-Man, and you're like, oh my God, this is cool. Like at heart, I'm still a Transformers fan. That's
Mhm.
from my Instagram name. I can watch and recite the Transformers animated movie. Like I could literally write the movie down right now like a script. Like I
Oh,
know
really?
every line, like where it's placed, in the series. So for me, what I still watch the original Transformers live action that Michael Bay did. As much people hate those movies, you're telling me I went from being a child at the age of like 5, watching this in a cartoon format for years,
Mhm. Mhm.
animated, to then watching like a CGI of the, Beast Wars and then all the other series that came through it. And then all of a sudden I'm getting a live action truck, plane, car to transform.
Mhm.
Um, it's like my childhood. It's it's my
It's
childhood just be like coming out.
it's awesome that you mentioned the Transformers, because I was kind of wondering when that was going to come about, even though we're mostly Star Wars today. But I did recently, like this past year or like the beginning of the year, I sat down and I watched all the Transformers live actions, because I've seen like 1, 2, and 3, I think, or whatever. And then I just stopped like when we hit dinosaurs, because I was like, dinosaurs? What? I don't understand. And so like I watched them. And then I was like, holy shit, the Dinobots are awesome. And then I went out and I bought like all the like key Transformers books, like all the way up to issue 8, pretty much. And it was super cool. My favorite Transformer Decepticon is probably going to be Blackout, because like in the first movie when he's just flying in there in that Black Hawk helicopter and just like boop, 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 boop. And then like the noise it makes whenever he transforms, and just like I love that. That was so cool. That was probably one of my favorite parts. But yeah, the Transformers movies are awesome. They're really super cool and they're easy to watch. I definitely think I'd rather watch the Transformers movies than Mortal Kombat 2021, in my opinion. But like I agree, the Transformers movies are dope. I don't remember much watching the animated back in the day. I felt like I did a little bit, but it didn't like suck me in as much as like a lot of the other animated shows back in the day. But yeah, I can smell what you're stepping in on the Transformers.
It just brings you back to a time that you realize anything that comes out now, like stuff, when they're going to do the He-Man or when they did the G.I. Joe movies, it's the same thing. You were watching those in a format of animation. Someone was drawing that and then you were watching it. You were reading a comic book in the 80s. And speaking of comic books, I'm so upset with myself that I never got a 9.8 in a Transformers #1, because I have a 9.6 and I should have bought it, because last year they were like $1,000. They were under $1,000 for a 9.8. Now they're like a 2K to a 3K book, I think, in a 9.8, which is just, there's no news. It's just the market's just insane. And I'm so sad that I'm never going to now get a 9.8 of this comic.
Okay, so here's another question. Are you willing to sell some of your Star Wars stuff to get that Transformers 9.8?
Yes, when the Star Wars characters that I've been hoarding pop. Yes.
Okay. Skeph's got another question here. You got an actor in mind for Thrawn? I have an actor in mind.
There's a lot of great actors out there. I think Benedict Cumberbatch would do an amazing job.
Benedict Cumbercookie?
Cumbercookie, yeah.
Fuck, what's his name?
You could just see it. You could see what he looks like in Doctor Strange. You remove the mustache, you paint him blue, and he's just got one solid color hair. He could just be straight-faced Grand Admiral Thrawn.
So are you saying that because of Benedict's age? Do you think if they're going to bring Thrawn in, he's going to be younger, or he's going to be middle age?
He's going to be older. He's definitely going to be older. But I just think the people that watch Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, like, it's a kid show, but there's a very underlying like killing in there. And I don't think people see that. And even like Thrawn, you watch it the first time. If you watch Star Wars Rebels seasons, I guess he appears in season 3. He's in 3 and 4. If you watch it the first time, you're like, he's a cool villain. Like, all right, he's a villain, but you're really more into the heroes. You like Sabine, you like Ezra, Kanan. But if you rewatch it and really watch Thrawn, he is diabolical if they were doing what if it was live action and the things sometimes he does to something, some of the scenes, he is he's pretty crazy and he's very intelligent.
Okay. Here's my pick. Okay. Hugo Weaving is General Thrawn.
Okay. Yeah. I could see that.
Like, I think, oh my God, I don't want to ruin this whole thing. Here we go. Hugo Weaving is General Thrawn. Look, with Mr. Smith, like, I think that'd be a pretty good pick. He's able to bring the ruthlessness and all that kind of stuff with Thrawn.
I can see that. And he's got he's done his acting chops, and he's Lord of the Rings, he's Megatron, he's Mr. Smith. There's tons of stuff that he's done.
Here we go. Can't appease everybody. Coming from the gallery.
Skeff looks like a good Thrawn. Like his photo right there. If he shaves this and the mustache, he's got the hair. He's got the black hair.
Skeff, are you willing to shave the beard to play Thrawn?
We'll paint you blue as for Halloween. I want to see that this Halloween. I want you to dress up as Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Oh my God. Challenge accepted. I did it on your behalf, Skeff. I knew you were going to do it. All right. So I want you to, so you've seen my collection. Okay. My Star Wars collection. I'll let you look at it here one more time. For Star Wars, for key book, collectability, maybe some spec, short, long-term, doesn't matter. What do you think would be a good Star Wars book that I could look for, that I could realistically buy? That's not going to cost me arms, legs, or kidneys.
Are you buying CGC 9.8s, or you just want like a raw near mint?
I usually will always go raw first before I even consider buying a slab.
Kanan number 1. I'll go back to the Kanan number 1. You have a Darth Maul too, which is very nice, which is Cad Bane. You have the Legacy 1. You're outpriced on like a Star Wars 42 for a Boba Fett.
Yeah, it would be nice to get that at some point. I'm sure maybe eventually I'll find one that's like low enough grade that it's not like terrible, but we'll see. Skeff's telling me Darth Vader 14.
I used to like that book too, but I dropped off on that book. It's not the book that it used to be. It's like first it was that blue cover down there. It was like Ahsoka Tano's first appearance in cameo, but then if you look at the dates, like publication dates, Mace Windu number 5 actually.
So that was the other thing I was thinking about was
or here's another one, High Republic number 1 first print.
High Republic number 1?
Yeah, the new series that's out. So only 5 issues in.
Oh, yeah. See,
it's the future right now for Star Wars. There's all these books. It's considered canon. You could buy a 9.8 for like right there. That's Stephanie Hans for 130 your best offer. Last one. Make an offer.
Yeah. I'm a cover A kind of guy, to be honest.
Oh, well, then it's easy right there. $88. $80.
$80? Hey, Skeff, you want to do me a deal? I know you got like 30 of them.
Yeah,
you just literally said it. Give me a deal. Just go ahead and throw it in with that Mr. Miracle number 4 that I bought from you. Go ahead and just slide that in there too. All right. I've been up in the air about it. I like to get like back issue bin books. So like modern books is not normally the thing. Like this modern, Star Wars Legacy and High Republic and all that, or back issue. That's usually my warehouse where I go to. But I will consider it.
If you want another book, probably I guess you could be hunting for. See, I don't want to give you the spec for tomorrow because I want everybody who's listening to check out the Star Wars spec that'll be dropping on May the 4th. So here's a cheap. This is I'll do my previous. I'll do 2 of my previous Star Wars. I'll give you one of my previous Star Wars specs. So there's another character that's in Star Wars canon in the Star Wars universe now, part of the back issue. Back issue. It's a modern book. It's Marvel Comics. Star Wars issue number 4 from the first series. Well, first series once they relaunched it in 2015, or issue number 6 is Sana Starros. I talk about it on my Star Wars spec because she is the second character that was introduced into Marvel's. Once Marvel bought them out.
You're talking about this one right here?
Yeah, that second printing, man. That even eludes me. I don't even have that. So, other than Dr. Aphra, she was the second character, because you figure both Star Wars and Darth Vader ran at the same time. So Darth Vader 3, of course, is Dr. Aphra. That's another great book that long-term I think people will be having. But so Star Wars issue number 4 was like the next book that had a first appearance for a character who's, standing right now the test of time. She played a big part in that series. She played a decent amount of time in the Dr. Aphra run for volume 1, and she's in volume 2. So she really is, someone who I could see coming to live action if they do something, whether it's post Return of the Jedi, if it's a movie or a series in between what's going on between New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. Okay. Skeff, yes, people are listening because I have the analytics. So,
so is this like a soft spec or a hard spec?
Well, considering that it's a $20 book now, and here's a funny story. I bought some guy. This is what I look for on eBay. I look for multiple copies. If some seller is selling multiple copies, I always end up, and they call it near mint, I end up buying like every copy. So one person, he had that book, Star Wars number 4, for like $5.99, and he had like 3 copies. I bought all 3 copies. Literally like 2 weeks later, he must have found more, and he listed them at $15. So people are, some people are in the know. And as you can see now it's like a $20 book, and that one below is like a $25 book for first printing. Second printings are $40 for that second printing. There's a few variants for it. There's like the action figure variant.
There's
that one. Yeah, that's there's the GameStop variant, which I think is definitely the hardest one. There is a 1 in 100. It's a sketch variant of the main cover.
Okay.
There's that, there's the main, that's a Canon. Yeah, that one in that second print is the only one that I've never found in the wild. Okay. Issue number 6 I've seen. Issue number 6 is her first. Like issue 4 is the first time you see her, but you don't know it's her. She's kind of in like a disguise. But then issue 6 is when she really reveals herself. Yeah, and then issue 6 went to 3 printings. Same cover, just different colored, as Marvel likes to do.
Okay. All right. Got it. Oh, here, Kanan number 1. This is the other one, right? This is the big one.
That's the one that is. Listen, in a year's time, they went from $125 to $400. So,
okay, all right, cool. All right, well, I have some extra Star Wars knowledge here. Thank you very much for all of that. I will be looking to get some more Star Wars book, and you'll probably be the first person to see the picture of it because I'm going to DM it to you. Be like, I just picked up a Star Wars Heir of the Empire number 1 for like $20, and you're just going to blow your fucking mind. But yeah, so thank you very much for your time, your knowledge. There was a lot of comments here from Skeff. I'm sure he's nerding out hard with Star Wars just like we are, so it's awesome. Thank you everybody that showed up earlier today. And Nemes1s Pr1me, where can we find you?
So you can hear me on a weekly basis on the Comic-Con podcast. Links are in the description down below. We are on all different platforms. Like I said earlier in the show, Google Podcasts, Apple iTunes, Spotify, Anchor FM, all the major platforms for podcasts. Here, new episodes come out every Friday morning. I drop Star Wars specs every, maybe once a month when I feel like it's a character that I feel like anybody should out there, digging in those long boxes, some back issue stuff. Manimal, my man Zach, he does a Mutant Monday. And that's pretty much it. So, listen to us. We're not on you. We do have a YouTube channel, but it's mostly I drop the videos later than I drop the normal stuff. So like we just did episode 17 last week. I think I just put on our YouTube channel like episode 6 maybe. I don't want to drop them like right at the same time. We really want to grow the podcast. Podcasts are perfect. I came from a YouTube community. I love the YouTube community. Podcasting is fun. You can listen to while you're driving to work. You can listen to it while you're landscaping, at the gym, food shopping, cooking. It's right there on your phone. So, Vincent, thank you so much for having me on. It's been fun talking Star Wars and geeking out with Skeff as well on anime. If you ever want me to come back on, love to come and nerd out, man.
Always. Like what ends up happening is unless I have like a scheduled guest or anything like that, I'll just start rambling about, something current or just like whatever. And, I'll end up getting pings from everybody left and right. Let me come on. So you're more welcome. Hop in, be like, yo, drop the link. You're always welcome. This has been great. So there you go, folks. Nemes1s Pr1me from the Comic-Con podcast, stopping by for the first time on the Monday Night Jibber Jabber, talking Star Wars and everything else nerdy. So thank you guys for stopping by. Make sure you stay tuned for the Thursday video. I have decided, with much reservation, but I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to do a push for a 500 subscriber giveaway. I just recently hit 400 on the YouTube channel, which I'm losing my mind about. I didn't know that was ever going to happen, but that's pretty sweet. So I'm going to give it back to the community. I'm going to figure out something actually dope as hell. And we're going to do a push for a 500 subscriber giveaway on the channel. So stay tuned for that video on Thursday. I am going to have to dig and find something to give away. That's going to be super awesome to give back to you guys. So
I'll send you some stuff, Vincent.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I will absolutely send you a nice care package for your subscribers.
For the giveaway. All right.
Absolutely,
awesome.
Man.
I think I've definitely got like an extra copy of a trade paperback up here. I'm going to throw in there too as well. I might do some other stuff too as well that I have laying around. Just throw in there, see if anybody wants to take a swing at it, crack at it, and read it. So if you want to send it, send it. But yeah, that's the announcement. I was thinking about it today, so doing it here. I know it's kind of late, but doing it at the end of the Monday Night Jibber Jabber. But that is going to happen Thursday. All right, friends. Y'all have a wonderful night. I'll catch you on the flip side. Take care, everybody. We'll see you on Thursday.